Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video today. I told myself I wasn't going to make a video today unless they did a blog, because I figured they were probably going to do a blog. Usually they've been on Wednesdays, but we're so close now that I feel like they're going to jam a bunch of information in the last second here. We know also that there was going to be a launch trailer Thursday during PlayStation State of Play. Still routinely forget that Sony owns Bungie. That's so weird, but yeah, that's happening. Don't expect anything super crazy there other than a very well-made trailer and maybe some new story elements. There's a little bit of a teaser that shows what I believe is like the opening cutscene of a invasion firefight. We've seen glimpses of that before, but like it's like a big space dogfight between a lot of people. I'm not sure who's all involved in that, but we will see. Today's blog is bringing challenge back to Destiny. This is expanding on one of the core pillars of the Joe Blackburn State of the Game. He had like 4 bullet points that I do not have memorized, but this was definitely one of them. So we will see what they talk about here. This doesn't look like a crazy... Okay, it's kind of long. But we'll I've not read this yet. This is like a minute after I posted, so we will go through it together and see what's up. All right, here we are with another update. This time coming from our World Systems team and focusing on the changes coming not only to Vanguard Ops, but Nightfalls, Raids, Dungeons, and more. Nightfall is almost upon us, and a lot is changing in the game. Proof of that is the buildings, abilities, weapon sandbox, and weapon crafting articles from the last few weeks. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff. But we also wanted to share some details on how we're improving several activities in order to better reward your efforts, especially when you face the hardest content Destiny 2 has to offer. Oh man, gotta wait for the big Salty Greppo declaration of whether or not this is doing enough. Okay. How much? Well, that depends on you. Oh wait, everything hurts now. How much? That depends on you. Philosophically, we are attempting to bring the difficulty levels of Legend closer to the popular Legendary campaign experience and the Master experience closer to Day 1 raids. Okay, that's good. At the same time, any high difficulty ritual content is designed to last many playthroughs over multiple seasons, so we're making some changes week over week and season over season to keep them fresh. Here's a breakdown of the changes coming to several high difficulty activities coming in the late fall. The basics of high difficulty activities. Adept difficulty is being removed. Heroic is now at the 750 power, the soft cap. Legend and Master can be entered once you hit 1800, the power cap. Activity levels, yeah, Adept was always pretty redundant, but of course my next question is, can you do Legend matchmaking yet? Or since they made it, I guess, a little harder, are they still going to make it so you can't do matchmaking? Alright, so activity levels for Season 20. Heroic is 1770, Legend is 1830, Master is 1840. That sure says to me is probably not going to get matchmaking, but I guess we'll see. We are implementing power level disadvantages to provide a better challenge curve. Hero, -5 power levels. Legend, -15 power levels. Master, -20 power levels. Sure, Grandmaster, -25. Oh, okay, so they're just straight up doing power curves, so you can't over-level for any of this, right? That's what this is saying, I'm guessing? So they're doing essentially the GM thing, but for everything, and although they're just making it lesser. So this is essentially difficulty levels just coming to Destiny and replacing the power grind, even though the power grind still exists. So, okay, this is like slightly confusing, because like, okay, so Legend of Master can be entered when you hit 1800, but the level is 1830, Master's 1840, but they're putting -15 to -20 on it. So if you get up to... So you will have to get up to like a little bit higher to at least get to -20. So for Master, you'd have to get to 1820 as the highest to be 20 under. For Legend, you'd have to get to 1815 to be 15 under. This is a little convoluted, I'd say, for at least average players to figure out. We will see how that goes. Okay, so match games being renewed. We know this, but Mishmash shields will take 50% less damage across the whole game. So while they're not like completely immune, essentially, well, more or less immune at higher levels, you still do want to shield match to a certain extent. All right, this is new. Burns and high-level activities will be split into surges and threats. Surges increase your outgoing damage. Surges increase elemental damage by 25%. Surges for high difficulty activities change every season based around featured damage types. Featured surge for Season of Defiance will be Strand. Weekly rotating surges will be Solar and Void. So Strand, and I assume it's some of them are they have to be the free ones, and then some of them will be the paid ones too. Okay, so Strand and Stasis. Threats increase elemental damage coming from enemies by 25%. Okay, so not 50% like we were doing on some stuff. Okay. High level activities now feature overcharge weapons. An overcharge weapon deals 25% more damage. Kinetic damage is also increased by 25% if using a surging subclass. So even if you're not like putting Stasis or Strand in the top spot, Kinetic will still be up by 25%. Overcharge weapons can come from several sources. Currently, weapons set per activity. Weapons featured as champion counters on the seasonal artifact. Overcharges and surges do not stack. Okay, so you can't get up to 50% increased damage if you have like a void auto rifle and it's void surge, but also auto rifle overcharge. Man, this is a lot of new terms. Okay, you only need one for a given damage source. Okay, combatants are harder to stagger, and their health has been increased across the board. This is to compensate for surge and overcharge. The effect is strongest on powerful enemies and weakest on rank and file. Ugh, okay. What's not changing? Equipment is still locked in Legend of Master difficulties as well as GMs. Oh, I hate locked loadouts. It's so annoying. A GM's like fine, but like I hate locked loadouts. This is why there's no matchmaking, is because they have locked loadouts. Matchmaking is still available on Heroic, but closed on Legend, Master, and GMs. All anyone wanted was Legend matchmaking, but since they made it harder, and since it's going to be negative 15, and there's all this other crap going on, they probably made it, I guess, too hard for just normal matchmaking, but I don't know. That's debatable. I don't know how I feel about that. Modifiers that affect enemy types, Fire Pit, for example, or Fireteam Coordination, Chaff Togetherness. Was that meant to say they stay the same? Because that seems like they stay the same. I don't know. This seems like it's missing something. All right, champion availability stays the same. GM revive limitations, wipe conditions, and schedule stay the same. Okay. Okay. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. If they just would have said, like, we're getting rid of Adept and Legend has matchmaking now, that probably would have been enough for me. It seems a little bit convoluted, but I guess we'll see how it goes in practice, and might just take some getting used to. Okay, the high scores strike back. Ritual activities are the core of the Destiny 2 experience. That's what we have plans to improve in these familiar playlists that we all cherish so much. Today we are focusing on the Vanguard Ops playlist. Never we are focusing on the Gambit playlist. Okay, I'm sure they will someday, but not today, or probably not this year. I don't know. We'll see. Strike refreshes. Lake of Shadows and Arms are being updated with new enemies, new encounters, new mechanics, and new objectives. So this is it's like Dave's talked about this before, but this is confirming it's not just like, okay, we're putting battleground enemy density into the Lake of Shadows. Like new encounters and new mechanics. That's a pretty significant rework. We will see how that manifests in practice. The point is you will not be able to just sparrow through them like before. They're working on Nexus Crash and Inverted Spire. They are limiting availability of those dramatically until they fix them. So I would expect that. I would easily expect that to happen this year. I don't know if it'll be next season or the season after. And I do wonder if they're doing any other ones besides this. Vanguard Ops playlist. Psyops Battlegrounds and Heist Battlegrounds are part of Vanguard Ops. We know that. The playlist is now power disabled like Gambit and Crucible. You cannot over level for it no matter your power level. I believe they said that this was going to be a -5, I think. No, they're not saying. It's either at level or -5. No. It says damage advantage over enemies or them upon you, no matter your power level. So this will be a flat difficulty power modifier. So unlike this, there's no negative. It's a flat 0, but it won't be like just utter ridiculous cakewalk like they are now in the Vanguard Ops playlist. Which will obviously make this entire playlist more grindy, but I am wondering if rewards are changing or anything. We'll see. Daily rotators and weekly surges have been removed, replaced with one random weekly surge, one random daily threats, one random daily modifier from our best of collection, including subtle foes, lightning crystals, and more. I did love lightning crystals. Vanguard Ops scoring. Okay, so they're doing scoring just like in Nightfalls, with a multiplier based on the strike. Higher your score, the larger your Vanguard rank multiplier will be. Okay, so I guess that's a bonus for making things a little harder now. You get 1x to get below 30. Every multiplier increases by 5,000 points at the initial 30. The largest is 7x for over 250. So this applies to all Vanguard modes, including Nightfalls. So I guess this is a way to get through the Vanguard Ops playlist faster if you're doing higher rank stuff, even in the Vanguard Ops playlist and getting a high score. Okay, Vanguard challenges. Complete Vanguard activities with a surging subclass. Still not changing this, huh? Just couldn't just make it do 3 strikes. Just okay. It can either be a seasonal surge for Nightfalls or the Vanguard Ops weekly surge. I don't know why they're married to this. I guess now it's to teach people about the surge system, but oh boy. Okay. Complete 5 activities. You get increased progress for harder difficulties. A single GM completes the challenge. I think that's almost how it works now. Well, no, because Vanguard Ops it was only Nightfalls before. So I think this is Vanguard Ops and this. So there's 2 different ones now. They just sort of tweak these a little bit. Okay. Nightfalls are dark and full of terrors. Nightfalls are a tad more challenging, to the point where you have to think twice before jumping into one without a proper build. One thing to take into consideration, once you reach the maximum effectiveness level, how your power levels won't make a difference, or how many extra artifact levels you have for that matter. Battlegrounds will slowly become part of the Nightfall playlist, starting with the Mars Heist Battleground. Of all the Battlegrounds they could have picked. I don't know about that one. Okay. Are they going to fix the thing where the freaking towers blast you when you have a high frame rate? Because I really hate that. We will include others in the following seasons. 2 surges are available. Threats dependent on the featured Nightfall. 1 featured overcharged weapon. I do like the idea of an overcharged weapon. In addition to just like you have to use whatever weapon for champion stuns. Because they're also changing champion stuns, as we already know. So like this isn't maybe like the modifiers that like boosted all primary or all special ammo weapons in the past, like Destiny 1 had. But a featured overcharge weapon is kind of an interesting idea. One featured one seems a little limiting, but I guess we'll see how it goes. Combatants are harder staggered and more health. Nightfall activity levels, yeah, we just saw that. Power delta disadvantages. Okay, yeah, so this is the important number. Maximum effectiveness targets. So, interestingly, the maximum effectiveness target for Master is lower than GM's, but that makes sense considering you used to be able to like dramatically overlevel Masters to farm them instead of GM's, although that is now less of a good use. Because it won't, like, you just can't overlevel for Masters or Legend anymore. Yeah, this is a pretty significant power increase, at least based on if you were getting to a high power level before. Like the different levels of Nightfalls were almost some of the only remaining reasons to even bother doing leveling at all or grinding power level. Like it never mattered for GMs, but for these ones, you could like, okay, I'm gonna really over level, and then Masters or Legends will be a lot easier. Now you can't do that. My next question is there going, like, now one of the only remaining things are like master raids or dungeons, so we will see how that goes. Raids and dungeons get the power delta treatment. Well, I guess that answers that. We know the master difficulty experience for dungeons and raid has its flaws, so we are making a few changes for those looking for a challenge to certainly find appealing. 1 overcharged weapons, 2 surges, no threat modifier. Combatants don't have increased health or stagger resistance. We want to bring them in line with our other master experiences without the need to build craft towards surges or overcharges. Okay. Wait a minute. So, are they having a set? So wait, are masters the same thing? I thought this was Nightfall. I'm a little confused here. So are master raids and dungeons getting minus 20 permanently, or it says they're getting the power delta treatment? I'm very confused about this. Maybe I'm an idiot, but like I'm a little unclear on what's going on here. At least in terms of that part. Maybe they're gonna say that. I guess we'll see. Lost sectors. We are aware that lost sectors and weekly campaign missions are not as rewarding as the community would like. We actually agree. Same thing with Dares and Wellspring. The passion around them is appreciated, and your feedback is always clear. They should be a bit more challenging. Your plans to not only improve not only them, but other activities too. Lost sectors, 1 overcharged weapon, 2 surges. Threats depend on the lost sector. Combatants are harder to stagger and have more health. Available in Legend and Master. Lost sectors feature plus 20 combat delta rather than minus 15 or minus 20. So you can over level for them by 20, I think. I think that's what that means. We'll be monitoring completion rates and times in Season 20 to see if exotic engram drop rates need to be adjusted. Obviously, they need to be adjusted. We should have the data on this already if they're not being changed. Okay, well, but there are additional paths to acquiring Lightfall exotic armor that you can discover on 228. Nightmare Empire Hunts and Campaign Weekly Mission. 1 overcharge weapon, 2 surges, thrust dependent. Combats are harder to stagger. 3 difficult settings, minus 5 heroic, minus 15 legend, minus 20 master. Didn't they say they were increasing rewards here? Okay. Dares and Wellspring. 2 rotating overcharge. Weekly rotating surges. 1 threat. Commands are harder to stagger. Legends on Dares and Master and Wellspring. You can extinguish on Master, and your teams can wipe if your objective has failed. I think that's how Wellspring works now, I'm pretty sure. Seasonal Battleground playlist. The difficulty setting of Season 19 is the same, so minus 5, weekly rotating surge, rotating threats, no overcharge weapons. They have a reduced health scaling and stagger resistance. As we said in the Lightfall in the Year Ahead article, all the variety in the world doesn't matter if the content itself is not interesting and engaging. In other words, there's no substitute for a good challenge. With these changes coming to activities, we hope we're able to reignite excitement for some of our favorite content in the game. Only 7 more days to go till you can test all this yourselves in Lightfall. I'm just wondering if any rewards are changing, or if it's just they made everything a lot harder with the Power Delta stuff, and it's all the same rewards. I'm a little confused about that. This is the most confusing part. This seems like it's missing a section, because if they're saying that they're getting the Power Delta treatment, this should mean you cannot overlevel for them at all, I think. So I gotta go read what people are saying about this, because I really don't quite understand this. I don't really know how to feel about this change until I see it in practice. I have certainly agreed with the idea that the seasonal playlists that were this season that are minus 5 were pretty fun, and that was a good challenge. Put that in the Vanguard Ops playlist, I guess, which is at Power, and I'm not sure if those are worth running for, 1 randomly dropped Vanguard playlist weapon and some Glimmer, and then whatever rep gains there. So, I don't know. I'm a little curious to see if there are not kind of increased rewards here, if the idea here is just, well, everything was too easy, we're making everything harder. I do like the idea of an overcharge weapon. The fact that these are... some of these have 1, some of these have 2, so we'll see how that goes. This sounds confusing, like offhand, but I think it's probably good to break it down the way they have here, from surges, threats, overcharge. Like I get that. It's stuff that we can, if they use this consistently going forward across all activities, I think that's a good way to kind of differentiate between enemy buffs, player buffs, and things like that. So we'll see how this goes. I don't know if what people were necessarily requesting when they wanted the game to be harder was just like, we're gonna put power deltas and everything, and so like the power grind matters, but only just to get to these points. Like according to this, there does not appear to be a reason to ever really get above 1820. I don't know what you can over level for now, especially if it is true and raids and dungeons master modes cannot be over leveled for. I guess you can over level for the base version, maybe. But this, that remains sort of unclear to me. So anyway, interesting article. I am still processing it, and parts of it are confusing to me, but we will see what the larger community makes of it. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will talk to you soon. Take care.